Hi. It's me. Uh I'm kind of upset. I'm not gonna hold you guys. I just recorded a video. I was watching Patrick CC. I was watching the one with him talking about Vin Diesel and The Rock, and I realized that my PC audio wasn't high enough. And I didn't notice until after the video. And that was crazy. I kept checking to see if it was going up, but I was trying to see if my mic was still on. And I was seeing the mic, the PC audio thing go up, so I was like, I thought it was just fine, but yeah. So that footage is gone. So I'm gonna react to something else. It's gonna be Patrick CC again because I have not watched Patrick CC in a long ass time. I haven't reacted in a long ass time. And I ain't gonna lie, like watching that last video was actually really fun. I just wish I could have that didn't happen. Because otherwise, it was a good video. It really was. But whatever, bro. We just move on, bro. Learn from our mistakes. Gotta always check. So my audio should be good now. And we're gonna watch this other video from Patrick CC called "The Depraved and Disgusting Downfall of the WWE's Owner." Yes, we're gonna be talking about Vincent Kennedy McMahon. Yes, and by the way, before you ask, I used to watch WWE, bro. I ain't gonna lie. I stopped now. But I might get back into it one day. Who knows? But I say back in 4th grade, I remember I bought this title. Hang on. Look, y'all can see it. I remember I got the Intercontinental Championship title from Walmart. Bro, I'm telling you, bro, I used to rock this shit, bro. I was sending one of these. I was sending one of these. One of these. I always did it on this side too because I liked it like this. I would usually take the thing off. Bro, this is the only thing I have from my childhood for real. It's kind of dirty. I don't really mess with it like that. I never even took it down from where I had it. Bro, if anything, I might even yeah, I might play the video like this. All right, without further ado though, let's get into it, boys. Let's get into it. Let me share the screen. This whole entire video I'm gonna have this around right here. I don't care. This be 30 minutes. I'll do it. Let's do it. Let's get it. Okay, make sure everything's fine now. Shit, bro. Like this.
It feels like every other day we see someone throw their entire life's work away because they use their money and power to fulfill their darkest desires.
True.
Vince McMahon was the mastermind who bought his father's wrestling promotion and turned it into the multi-billion-dollar company we know today as the WWE. Many of the ideas,
Roman Reigns, The Undertaker, Randy Orton. Oh my God, his son. Shane McMahon. I ain't gonna lie. When I was little, Shane McMahon's opening used to be everything to me. Here comes the money. Here we go. Money talk. Here comes the money. Money. I actually remember this. That's Kevin Owens, right? I remember when he was in WrestleMania fighting the Undertaker, and he had the same thing like this. I actually remember this. I remember this match too. I remember Sami Zayn grabbed him.
Legendary matches and controversial moments can be credited to Vince's sick and twisted mind. Not only did he run the company, but he was also the most notorious villain who played the character of the psychopath businessman.
Yeah.
We would later find out that this was no character. Vince was just as evil off-screen as he was on-screen.
His dick is red as hell.
Horrifying accusations have come to light regarding Vince's sick ways. Brutal assault, crime cover-ups, and human trafficking are just a few of the many reasons why he has formally stepped down as the CEO of the WWE. Today we are going to look into the unraveling of Vince McMahon's life and career and show all of the obvious warning signs we missed along the way. The wrestling business operated similarly to gangs in the 60s, 70s, and 80s.
Oh yeah,
the United States had defined territories that different wrestling federations controlled. Vince McMahon's father,
that's crazy.
Vincent, owned the Worldwide Wrestling Federation, which controlled the northeast region of the United States. This was home to stars like Bruno Sammartino. He also had the Mid-Atlantic region, Virginia and the Carolinas, home to Ric Flair.
Ric Flair, I'm not gonna lie, bro. WWE used to be my fucking life. I used to love that shit, bro. Remember one time I had like for my birthday I had like a WWE cake, bro. That shit was everything to me. Like in like 4th grade, I'm telling you, bro. Like I think it's maybe like 3rd, 4th grade, all the way to like 8th grade, maybe. Yeah, 'cause I feel like the last thing I watched was like maybe like in 8th grade was like SummerSlam.
And the
Now I stopped
world-class
after that.
wrestling promotion in the South, which was home of the Von Erich brothers.
Oh my.
Wrestling had nowhere near the mainstream popularity it does now. There wasn't much money in the business, so each promotion was protective of their territory. You only promoted shows within the territory you controlled. The National Wrestling Alliance was a governing body that protected the territorial integrity of the promotions. They also helped with talent acquisitions, cross-promotions, title matches, etc. Vincent McMahon Sr. was an honest, hard-working man who traveled the country developing relationships with the heads of other promotions.
Right.
Vince was enamored with the world his dad created, and one day dreamed of taking over the business, but his father didn't like that idea.
Vince lets his father know that he wants to wrestle. His father is adamantly opposed.
Oh, why?
A more secure future. You want to be an accountant or an attorney or something like that.
Because they didn't pay that much back then. It makes sense, bro. As like a father, you like, damn, bro. Well, I'm not a father, but like as a father, you're like, damn, bro. I don't want my kid to like get into something that like I'm struggling in. You know, he needs to be like more successful than I am. You know, like that type of mentality.
For any of the above.
In 1972, his father finally gave him an opportunity
1972.
in Bangor,
Damn.
one of the smallest and most difficult places to generate excitement and revenue. So Vince Jr. came up with the genius idea of taping the matches and shipping those tapes across state lines to get people to start watching wrestling on television. Some people looked at this as undercutting or stealing from other territories. But over the next decade, Vince helped his father bring the business to new heights, bringing in stars like Muhammad Ali.
Yeah, I'm about to say, I was about to say, is that Muhammad Ali?
And tripling their television ratings in the region. However, the landscape of wrestling would shift dramatically when in 1982 his father was falling deathly ill from cancer. He wanted the WWF to remain a Northeast promotion and control the New York City area, but Vince Jr. had big dreams of becoming a national promotion and establishing a global presence. He bought the company, and shortly after, his father passed away. Now Vince was on a warpath to infiltrate every territory and take their business.
Makes sense.
But before we dive deeper into Vince's evil plan, it's becoming more difficult to protect yourself.
Here comes the ad.
Scammers are becoming more sophisticated, and it's almost impossible. Video now to protect your online browsing information, avoid installing malware and falling victim to scams, and foot 4 inches and over guard.io/PatrickCC and get 20% off the monthly subscription. Thanks, Guardio. And that started with Andre the Giant.
Oh shit.
Standing at 7'4" and
Damn.
over 500 pounds, Andre was a sight to behold, and everyone around the world was eager to watch him compete. While working for Vincent, Andre would travel across territory lines and get paid a fee to help draw bigger crowds to smaller promotions. Hulk Hogan was another traveling star who was based out of Florida. But
the guy who said the N-word, I actually do. If y'all know Ray William Johnson, he covered a story about like him, you know, Hulk Hogan, bro. I did not know he said the N-word. Like I did not know how he felt about black people. Like I remember I was watching this story and like I was like, damn, I feel bad for him because like something happened, like his videos got leaked or something about him sleeping with his friend's wife. And by the way, the friend's wife was a cuck, so yeah. And like, it got leaked or whatever the fuck. And even like videos of like him like saying the N-word because his daughter was dating a black guy got out, and he was like, and he said the N-word multiple times, and he said how he felt about black people. So yeah. I ain't gonna lie. After that, I was like, at first I felt bad because he got leaked. I was like, oh, why did he leak my man's? And then I heard about that. I was like, oh, never mind. He deserved it. He deserved it, bro. Never mind. Never mind, man. Like, what the fuck did we do? Just because your daughter getting dicked down by Tyrone? Don't blame us. The fuck?
cross territory lines for a fee. But when Vince took over, he put an end to this. Wrestlers signed to the WWF would only be able to wrestle for the shows he controlled, which was basically every state from Pennsylvania to Maine. This business practice is extremely common now, as you never see a football player jump from one game in the NFL to one game in the XFL, or a fighter have one match in the UFC, then a fight in Bellator, then back to UFC. They sign exclusive contracts for a certain number of matches. But back then, Vince's business practices were considered destructive to this industry. He began signing top talent from all territories to exclusive contracts with the WWF. Some of those wrestlers included Andre the Giant, Hulk Hogan, Rocky Johnson, Roddy Piper, Bret
Rocky
Hart,
Johnson,
Mr. T,
oh,
Randy Savage,
oh my
Ultimate
God,
Warrior,
oh my
Ricky
God,
Steamboat, just to name
all these people, bro. Oh my God, bro, this just kind of ooh. By the way, Hulk Hogan apologized, but still, I don't. You have to apologize. I don't think that was sincere. That's just me though. But besides the point. But like, ooh, bro, that's the old roster right there, the old roster. Oh, my video is loading. What happened? I'm hitting play.
Randy
Thank
Savage,
you.
The Ultimate Warrior, Ricky Steamboat.
Yes,
just
keep
to name a
going.
few.
Thank you.
Vince started the Atlantic and Pacific Wrestling Corporation by partnering with Mike LaBelle in Southern California. Then he purchased Mike's shares of the company in 1982, which gave him full control of New York City, Philadelphia, and Los Angeles. To continue his dominance, he used his relationships at War TV to pay $2,500 a week for a Saturday morning time slot on Los Angeles' Channel 9 KHJ TV. But McMahon didn't expect to make a dime. He saw TV as a promotional expense to boost the gates of live shows. The WWF was being broadcasted nationally on Monday nights on the USA Network, so the whole country was being exposed to the brand. But that wasn't enough for Vince. He began a full-on invasion strategy to take out all his competitors city by city, like when he acquired a local TV station, WAKR 23 out of Akron, Ohio, with reach to Cleveland.
Akron? Cleveland? That's actually crazy. So the takeover started here. That's crazy. I'm not gonna lie.
On January 8th, 1983. Then
damn,
later that
well, I
year,
guess I'm
the
gonna go.
WWF debuted on WCPO 9 in Cincinnati, which was an established Georgia Championship Wrestling territory. From there, the WWF entered World Championship Wrestling territory in Dayton, Ohio, purchasing the exclusive rights from WKEF 22 to replace the WCW broadcast with WWF's broadcast. One by one, Vince would enter a city controlled by another promotion, then buy out their TV time slot to air WWF. If he couldn't buy out their TV slot, then he would buy out their top talent, but most of the time, he did both. On an infamous day now known as Black Saturday, July 14th, 1984, Vince McMahon appeared on the Saturday time slot on TBS that regularly featured Georgia Championship Wrestling for over a decade. Vince walks on screen after purchasing the company in the time slot to basically flex and say the World Wrestling Federation is now taking over.
It is indeed a pleasure to be associated with WTBS, and we promise to bring you the greatest in professional wrestling entertainment in the world today.
Jim Ross, a legend known for being WWE's commentator in its golden years, said he once overheard several NWA promoters considering getting McMahon killed while in the stall of
damn, it's like that. I guess it makes sense. He was buying shit up and then making niggas get out of business. But damn,
in those days it was like when you, from their standpoint, invaded their territory.
Yeah,
it was like, well, okay, them is not just fighting words. It's like there's so many times when people threatened me, and it was like the last guy said, like, you better get, if you want to take credit for it, you better get me quick.
Now, it can't be confirmed if this was a serious consideration or tongue-in-cheek, but it can't be denied how much men like Jim Crockett, Bill Watts despised Vince for taking away their livelihoods. However, others just look at this as natural competition. America was founded on capitalism, and you should not get comfortable as a business person, because eventually someone is going to come and take your spot. If you don't adapt, you die.
You die.
By 1988, Vince McMahon fully decimated the territory system. Now the WWF was the biggest and best national wrestling promotion in the sport. This made it extremely easy for Vince to acquire the best talent throughout the 90s, as the World Wrestling Federation became home to rising stars like The Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, Steve Austin,
Stone Cold Steve,
Jeff Hardy, Triple H, Mick Foley.
The goats, the Attitude Era, the goats, the goats. Kane.
Kane, The Rock. It seemed
The
like Vince's
Rock.
only competition was with himself. They were selling out stadiums all over the country and broadcasting their events nationally every week. With that being said, the pressure to remain #1 was at an all-time high. The matches needed to be bigger. The stakes needed to be higher. Vince wrote in more gimmick matches like ladder matches, table matches, or weirder matches like casket matches and dumpster matches, which meant you had to finish your opponent by putting them in a casket or a dumpster.
Oh my God.
They even had weird ones like the boiler room match or the hog pen match,
That's
which involved
crazy.
wrestling in mud with pigs. But there's no doubt that the Hell in a Cell match, which featured a 16-foot steel
Hell in a Cell. Bro, that name still gives me chills. I just got like a cold ass chill down my spine. That was nostalgia. Just like that name, Hell in a Cell. Ooh. Ooh, bro. Yeah. WWE nerd, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. Oh, I just did that shit.
cage that was designed to have wrestlers thrown from the top or through the middle was the most electrifying way to watch two people wrestle.
Hell
It didn't
yeah.
matter that it was fake, because
It
those guys
didn't.
were actually putting their body and their lives on the line
Hell
for
yeah.
our entertainment.
Bro, somebody actually died because of that. That's so. It was one of the Brits, right? I could be
And
wrong.
Vince's money. It was only a matter of time before one of those high-flying stunts ended in disaster.
Yeah.
And in 1999, at Over the Limit, that's exactly what happened. Owen Hart, who was portraying a
Owen Hart, that's what his name was. Rip my man's, bro. That like, I remember hearing about this story. Ooh, bro, rip my man's, bro. So like such an awful story.
superhero called the Blue Blazer, fell from 90 feet in the air during a botched entrance stunt where he was flying over the crowd into the ring. After the fall, he suffered internal bleeding and passed away right there in the stadium. They even announced his death on the show, but Vince said the show must go on, and they proceeded to finish the event like this extreme tragedy did not happen.
I have the unfortunate responsibility to let everyone know that Owen Hart has died.
Vince doubled down on his decision to continue the show in an interview in 2001 with Playboy.
Bro, I would have fucking ended that shit, bro. Someone just died. Yeah, we got ended that. I'm sorry, guys. I know y'all just paid for your tickets, bro. No refunds, but hey, I'm sorry. Still gotta stop. Okay, no refunds is crazy. Fuck was that noise? No refunds is crazy, but
If you could do it over, would you still hold the show that night? I just guessed that it was what Owen would want, so you'd do it again? I think so. Vince did not just portray a character of a ruthless businessman.
He
That
is.
who he was.
Yeah.
But it proved to be the right path to success. 98 and 99 was their peak in terms of ratings and overall viewership, averaging multiple millions of viewers per episode. By the early 2000s, the WWF was generating $500 million in revenue
Damn.
each year. The high-intensity matches did not stop. However, the late 90s and early 2000s definitely saw a shift to more in-depth storytelling, which brings us to the infamous Attitude Era. This era
Attitude
defines the
Era.
most ruthless, chaotic, over-the-top violent, and edgy time in WWE history. Scripts were changed the day before, the day of, or even in the ring. The wrestlers were rugged, rude, and in your face. And Vince found himself at the center of these stories because what is more anarchist than beefing with your own boss? Vince portrayed the character of a manic, power-hungry, yet also kind of pathetic CEO of the company. His rivalry with Steve Austin, which began in '97 after Austin hit his boss with a stunner, drove ratings through the roof. This
Hell
beef
yeah.
was insane. Austin once held McMahon at gunpoint in the ring, although the gun was fake. He drove down the ring with a beer truck and sprayed Vince down with a fire hose of
Oh my
fumes, being sent to
God.
the hospital.
Oh my, such peak, bro. Why these clips of it too peak? I don't care, bro. Call me a nerd. Literally call me a nerd, bro. This is I still can't believe I have this. I'm not gonna lie. I think I moved like 2 houses and still had this. It's like the only thing I probably have within like 2 houses.
where Vince was injured and beat him up on the bed. This all culminated with Austin having a full-on match against Vince and his son Shane. This storyline set the tone that Vince being intertwined and involved with the lore was good for business. Then again, Stone Cold Steve Austin was such a superstar that he could beef with a mop and it would be entertaining. In the Attitude Era, you could no longer just be an athlete to be a WWE star.
You gotta be entertaining.
You needed to have personality, charisma, excellent speaking abilities to be able to sell a fight and keep these millions of fans engaged. And if you didn't, well, then the writers would come up with your storyline. And you won't believe some of these shocking and twisted narratives that Vince approved or came up with himself.
This nigga fought God. I shit you not. That's literally what happened. This nigga fought God. Like, what type of storyline is that?
In one of the most bizarre storylines, Kane announced that he was driving late at night with Katie Vick, a girl he loved since he was a teenager. He could not drive stick and they crashed, where she ultimately lost her life. Then Kane attends her open casket, and for 6 minutes on live television he fondles her corpse, undresses her lifeless body, and gets intimate with her before grabbing her internal organs and drinking the blood from them.
I'm gonna give you what you want.
This was crazy.
What I always wanted.
I don't think I want to
When
watch this.
Chris Jericho ambushed Chyna, tied her up in a dark room, and began torturing her by beating her with a hammer, which actually broke her thumb, so her painful screams were real. Vince was a big fan of humiliation, so he developed the Kiss My Ass Club, where a total of 6 men were forced to get on their knees and kiss his backside in front of millions of people. Most of the time, this was to save their job, or just to embarrass them on a power trip. I should also note that Vince gave the world the satisfaction of being humiliated, as he scripted himself getting his face shoved in Rikishi and the Big Show's backsides.
That was
now,
so
most people like to default to all of this being
nasty.
entertainment. Like, sure, they push some boundaries, but it's all fake, right? But as time went on, and wrestlers spoke about their behind-the-scenes experiences, and Vince McMahon being accused of sexual assault and trafficking women, some of these storylines felt more like a glimpse into the reality of Vince McMahon's private life. Vince often used his daughter, Stephanie,
Still
for his
weird.
dark storylines.
Still weird.
Probably because
Like,
her
I'll lie.
loyalty convinced her to never say no to him. Like when she was going to get married in the ring to her fiancé Test, only for Triple H to interrupt the wedding with a video of himself drugging, kidnapping, marrying, and then sleeping with Stephanie while
Bro, I swear to fucking God, I'm like hearing noises. I could be tripping because I have like 2 headphones on. Bro, I ain't gonna lie. I don't know. I'm scared. I'm scared, bro.
she was unconscious, which led to this infamous promo.
Come on out, you rapist!
But Stephanie was the
Whoa.
subject of another kidnapping,
Whoa.
this time by The Undertaker, who brought her out tied on a crucifix-like structure
Yeah, this is
before one
crazy.
of his disciples began ordaining the marriage. In a promo that fans now believe is more of an admission of Stephanie's reality, she says that Vince trafficked his own daughter. Stephanie also admitted that he attempted to push an incest angle.
Whoa.
My dad did approach me about wanting to be the father of my baby in a storyline for TV, which again is only the second time I've ever actually said no to him for something he wanted to do, and that one was just a little too gross. Actually, it's completely disgusting, and
Hell
I
yeah.
don't find the entertainment value in it at all.
But that didn't stop her from kissing him on the mouth.
I don't want to watch this. I actually didn't know about that. Hold on. Hold on now. Hold on now. Maybe I should maybe I should retire the belt. Who wants this, bro? I'm selling it for 1 cent. It can be yours for 1 cent. This shit does not cost more than like 1 cent. Unless I get famous one day. This shit costs nothing. Like, I'm not famous at all right now. So this shit costs like 1 cent. If I get famous one day, maybe like 100 plus. But 1 cent. Whoever wants it, you can have it, bro. Just cash at me. Yeah, cash at me 1 cent. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I'll think about it.
Don't show this. Don't show this. Okay, it wasn't that
But
long.
Vince just could not stop coming
Thank
up
you.
with tropes that involve men preying on women. Vince came up with a storyline for Diamond Dallas Page to stalk The Undertaker's wife. DDP says to
Oh,
this
hell
day
no.
he regrets agreeing to be a part of this narrative. What I should have done was shook everyone's hands and said, I love the idea, but not for DDP. A few years later, this is what Vince said he was going to do to The Undertaker's wife and kids.
No, what's that? What's that?
Terrorists are gonna burn down the Undertaker's house.
Interesting.
Yeah. His children are gonna be kidnapped.
All right.
His wife, she's gonna be raped by a motorcycle gang right in front of the Undertaker. That's the plan I want implemented, damn it.
Finally, Vince was able to find a woman who could take his
Huh.
twisted ideas to a whole new level.
Ooh!
As he scripted himself a mistress,
Sorry.
Trish Stratus.
Bro, Trish Stratus was that woman back then. She was that woman back then. I'm not gonna lie.
Trish played a character of a woman who slept
By the
with
way, the way women are now, like the wrestling women now, 10 out of 10, bro. They be putting on some great ass matches. I'm not gonna lie, bro. That back then they were actually being used too sexually. I'm not gonna lie. Trish Stratus was one of those examples. But
lost to
it's
advance
fine
her
now.
place in the company. At one point, they even wrote that Vince's actual wife, Linda, was so ill she needed 24-hour nursing care and was on copious amounts of drugs. He then brought her out in front of the entire world to make out with Trish right in front of his wife. Vince was brutal towards his wife. He even wrote in a scene where his kids repeatedly slapped their own mother to sell a promo.
Hell
Whatever
no.
it takes to get ratings, right? And even though Trish was doing everything she could to advance her place in the company, it wouldn't be long before she was the one who would get humiliated, as he once even stripped her down in the ring and forced her to bark like a dog. He even tried to get her to join the Kiss My Ass Club,
Oh, I'm gonna unbuckle my belt.
but The Rock saved her. Vince's
Sorry,
idea
Beans.
of easing up on women was by giving them a new match gimmick, the bra and panties match. This match gimmick was when the female wrestlers would
Like, I hate it. Like, it's just so crazy to think about. But it's like, it makes sense on why he's a creep, you know? Bra and panty matches, bro. That is a teenager's dream. He's a grown ass man. Let's really think. It's not even like a teenager's dream. It's anybody's dream. But like, grown men know, like, it's not right. You know, that's not the right thing to do. Especially in a business like this, when kids are watching.
only
maybe.
win the match if they strip their opponent
This is the attitude area, but still, it's the. Fuck no, bro. Fuck, I heard that, bro. Fuck that. No. I heard that. Nope. Sorry, bro. I heard something like, I don't know if it's like the wind knocking or whatever the fuck, but I was not taking no chances, bro. I just took my AC out the window. I just locked the window, bro. Fuck that, bro. I'm not gonna lie. Because I don't know what the fuck was going on. But like, fuck that. Fuck that, bro. If it gets hot, I'll put it back in. But I doubt it's gonna get hot again. It's literally fall now. But we should be good now.
down to their bra. and
But it's still
panties.
crazy, though,
They also had
that this
wet
happened.
T-shirt contests
Oh, hell
and
no.
spanking matches. Vince was constantly writing storylines where women had to provide him with some
I'll give
sort
you
of
1 year out.
sexual favor.
How badly do you want to be a WWE superstar?
Tori Wilson spoke recently about how she never wanted to play the sexy role and how she tried to convince writers to get her to do more stunts.
Fit Finley was amazing putting matches together and just trying to make us look the best he could.
Right.
And I often would ask him if I could please get thrown into the stairs or like crazy, not crazy things, but like, you know, I just really wanted to get
In the action.
If there's
Yeah.
just like baseball slide into a chair, like it's
some
part of your Hall of Fame reel, and I'm like, oh my gosh.
stuff like that. So like I wanted to do more of that, but it was I was like kind of laughed at.
Ultimately, being constantly forced
Fucks
to do
no.
these raunchy matches and skits that only showcased her sexuality made her despise the business long after she retired.
It makes sense.
There's also something about wrestling that has always felt super dark to me, and like I'm just really sensitive to it. So like I say no to a lot of signings because I feel like that darkness, and it doesn't feel good. It's taken a long time. I didn't watch wrestling. I didn't want anything to do with wrestling for many years after I left. Mostly because I just had like a certain amount of like PTSD from like being so vulnerable out there and feeling
Yeah.
like I was put in this kind of like raunchy role that wasn't me.
So while
Yeah.
most people
So
thought that
fucked up.
these raunchy matches, risque promos, and twisted narratives were just Vince McMahon going over the top to boost ratings, we found out 2 decades later that it was even darker behind the scenes. It was so bad for Ashley
no.
Massaro that it ended her life. Massaro was first...
No. Oh, this is kind of sad. I'm not gonna lie. This is a sad ass story. I ain't fucking with this. I ain't fucking with this. It's kind of sad. I'm not gonna lie. Don't tell me she killed herself because of WWE, bro.
introduced
Let's
to the
keep going.
WWE in 2005 when she met a casting director during a swimsuit pageant searching for contestants for the upcoming 2005 Raw Diva Search competition. She decided that this was the right decision to finally shoot for her dream job as a WWE wrestler. Upon winning, she received $250,000 and a 1-year contract with the WWE. Ashley faced significant challenges during her early WWE career. August 22, 2005, she was attacked backstage by fellow divas Candice Michelle Motion, but later suffered a severe leg injury on February 20th during a women's battle royale against Mickie James.
Oh.
The injury included a spinal fracture, a severed nerve,
I seen that.
multiple broken
She started holding her
bones,
leg too.
requiring a metal plate and screws be put in during surgery. After recovering, she returned until 2008, where she asked to be released from her contract due to her daughter having medical problems. For years, Ashley would be relatively out of the spotlight until 2016, when she would join a class action lawsuit against the WWE, alleging Vince was a part of one of the most horrifying crime cover-ups in history. Ashley Massaro was a strong supporter of the US military and was enthusiastic about opportunities to meet and help the troops. So in 2006, Ashley was excited to be selected to go to Kuwait for their annual Tribute to the Troops tour. However, the tour started off with issues. In Saudi Arabia, Massaro experienced harsh treatment from several men because of cultural reasons which made her uncomfortable. And after arriving in Kuwait, she began suffering from menstrual cramps and was taken to a military base for dehydration treatment. At the base, she was given an IV, and later a man wearing an orange t-shirt and cargo shorts, claiming to be a US Army doctor, injected her with a substance that made her body paralyzed while still being conscious. He then moved her to a non-treatment room where the man violently R-worded and sodomized her while...
I don't have any words. That is crazy. The world really is scary, bruh. So how the fuck does a nigga like that get into a fucking military base? Unless he actually was like what he said he was, and he just did it because he's a creepo. Fuck, bro. So sad, man. I'm like, oh wow, that's kind of fucked up.
While a woman guarded the door. After returning to the US, WWE's Dr. Rios called a meeting with Ashley Massaro to discuss the incident. She was unsure how he knew about it, but suspected it might have been someone on the tour who reported it. She agreed to tell him what happened as long as Rios kept it confidential. However, Dr. Rios told Vince McMahon, who then brought in executives for a meeting where Massaro was asked to detail what happened in Kuwait. She said, "Vince did at least apologize for what I went through, but then stressed that if I disclosed this incident, it would ruin the relationship between the WWE and the US military. He told me to not let one bad experience ruin the good work they were doing."
The fuck? She got R-word, bro. And you telling me it's gonna be bad between WWE and the US military? Please, bro. Who the bro? He really was corrupt. Holy. I didn't know about this story either. I'm not gonna lie. Oh my god, he's an asshole. Really, bro? What the fuck, bro? I swear, I'm like hearing knocking. Is it like windy? Let's go look at the weather, bro.
His lack of sensitivity and referring to my ordeal as one bad experience left me speechless. In a filing the next month, WWE called the claim a stale and baseless allegation and denied my...
It says wind gusts are up to 8 miles per hour. That's probably what I'm hearing. Then. Hold on. Oh, it's gonna be cold. Never mind. Because I was looking at the weather. It says 72 today. It's kind of hot. But then again, I come back at night. Today's Friday, so I'm gonna come back at night. So last time I come back at night, it should be fine.
Sorrow had ever reported a sexual assault to anyone affiliated with WWE,
It's gonna be cold,
saying
probably,
she had been
at
heard
night.
telling others that the doctor had done an inappropriate pelvic exam before a judge dismissed the case in 2018.
Oh, hell
Less than
no.
a year later, Ashley wrote letters back to all of her fans that were sharing love and support for her bravery. Then the next day, Ashley tragically passed away on May 16th, 2019. She was...
The fans that stood with her. Wasn't enough, bro. I'm just like, ooh, it's kind of sad, bro. I'm not gonna lie. Kind of makes me want to cry. I'm not gonna lie. I don't cry that much, but like, this kind of makes me want to cry. I'm not gonna lie. This is so fucked up. That's so fucked up.
Was 39 years old and is survived by her daughter. An important statement that Ashley made during this lawsuit was never released to the public until 2024 to back up Vince's new allegations by Janelle Grant, which we'll get to in a second.
Okay.
Ashley's statement said the following: "During my time with the WWE, I had observed Vince McMahon making out with other divas in the locker room, but he never paid any attention to me, and I assumed I was not his type. This changed after my Playboy cover was released. I was fortunate enough to be allowed to fly on the company jet and stay at the same hotels as the executives for a period of time.
Oh, hell
On
no.
one of these occasions, Vince was attempting to get me alone with him in his hotel room late at night, and I felt extraordinarily uncomfortable. He began calling the hotel room phone and my cell phone non-stop. I called Kevin Dunn, a producer, to explain the situation, and he said I should tell Vince I was not feeling well and would see him on TV the next day, so I did. Immediately after that night, Vince started writing my promos for me. Vince does not write promos for female wrestlers. That is the job of the creative department, and he certainly wouldn't have under any normal circumstances.
It's like if you don't do it, you're fucked. So it's like at that point, I don't know, cause like she's kind of stuck in a predicament. If she doesn't do it, he's gonna like just write her a bad story and make her character just terrible. Maybe even fire her. But at that point, it's like you probably just don't. You probably don't want to be like out of a job like that. But like, I say like the right answer is to like get fired, bro. Like it's not worth doing all that, especially if you're not comfortable. Just get fired. Like he's an asshole, bro. I'm not gonna lie. He's kind of. I bet he's a part of that and why she did kill herself.
Promo for me, but he did, and the promos were written with a clear intention of ruining my career. In addition, after that night, each time I walked by him, he would make vulgar sexual comments that were clearly designed to make me uncomfortable. These claims can be backed up by former boyfriend and wrestler Paul London, who said that Vince was constantly putting predatory pressure on her.
Many times when she would be
This
crying
music
to
is
me
sad too.
because
Patrick,
Vince
don't
was
do this.
propositioning her to
You toying with my heart,
fly
bro.
on the jet with them. Like Kevin Dunn, Bucktooth Bucky would be telling her that she has to fly on the jet with him, or that he might, possibly, or every now and then, if she was at the, they'd always put the divas up at like the TV hotel or whatever. He'd be knocking on her door and trying to get her to answer, and it's just like,
Yo, this guy right here, bro. Close your damn eyes, bruh.
fuck this Vince stuff.
Fuck.
It's just now coming out.
The walls were slowly closing in on
Niggas like, damn, nigga. I know it's shocking, but fuck, look normal.
on Vince McMahon. He was able to escape Ashley Massaro's horrible allegations, but it was only a matter of time before his evil past would catch up to him.
Yeah.
In 2022, Vince McMahon agreed to pay more than $12 million to 4 women who
Damn.
were affiliated with the WWE over the course of 16 years. It's alleged that the women also signed agreements which prohibited them from discussing their relationships with McMahon. The settlements include a $7.5 million pact with a former wrestler who alleged that Vince McMahon coerced her into giving him oral sex and then demoted her, and ultimately declined to renew her contract in 2005
Wow.
after she resisted further sexual encounters. This controversy was enough to make Vince McMahon finally step down as CEO of the company. But in
Good.
January of 2024, Vince was slapped with another lawsuit, this time jam-packed full of evidence that would make the whole world understand who he truly is. Janelle Grant, a former WWE employee, accused Vince McMahon of abuse, sexual exploitation, and humiliation during his tenure as chief executive. Grant alleged that McMahon lured her with promises of career advancement, but then exploited and trafficked
an
her to
asshole,
other men
bruh.
within the company. Grant first met McMahon in March
Him
of
and Diddy's the
2019
same,
through a
bro.
manager in her apartment building, where McMahon also lived. She was seeking employment after her parents' deaths. McMahon promised her a job at WWE and showered her with gifts, but the meetings turned inappropriate when one time McMahon approached her in his underwear and pressured her into sexual situations. As such, when McMahon pushed Miss Grant for a physical relationship in return for long-promised employment at WWE, she felt trapped in an impossible situation, submitting to McMahon's sexual demands or facing ruin. Miss Grant feared she had everything to lose and faced negative consequences no matter what happened. In June of 2019, Grant began working as an administrator coordinator in WWE's legal department. After giving her a job, Vince McMahon's sexual demands increased, and he began sharing explicit photos and videos of her with other WWE employees and executives. Despite Miss Grant's expressions of unhappiness
Hell
and
no.
attempts to end the sexual relationship, she came to understand that McMahon expected the physical relationship to continue as a part of her employment. In March of 2020, McMahon began sharing sexually explicit photographs and videos of Miss Grant, including pornographic content he recorded with
What
other
the
men both
fuck?
inside and outside the company. You can even see these text messages of him admitting to doing so. She even tried to
Fuck
express
no.
that she did not want an associate named Johnny, aka John Laurinaitis, receiving pictures of her. The lawsuit then goes on to describe not one or a few, but countless extremely detailed situations in which Vince used his power to break her down, exploit her sexually, demand and force her to give herself to him and his associates, whether it was by serving executives during work hours in offices or serving WWE superstars to keep them satisfied and prevent them from leaving the company.
Hell
Control
no.
that can only be described as sexual slavery. If you read this text message, you can see an example of him trying to coordinate a schedule for his associates to take turns with this.
Exactly, baby. He's not the only one. Blank called me this afternoon, begging me to eat you. I don't want to read this. I'm not.
This woman,
I'm not
only
reading
for her to
this. This is
respond that she
weird.
does not want to, and for him to keep begging. Multiple other text messages from Vince were shown in the lawsuit where he deeply explains his desire to traffic her to men throughout the industry. As one example of McMahon's extreme depravity, on May 9th, 2020, he defecated on Miss Grant during a threesome, and then commanded her to continue pleasuring his friend with feces in her hair and running down her back. McMahon and his friend actively resumed the threesome, which lasted over an hour and a half, while Miss Grant remained covered in McMahon's filth. Naturally, when people hear about allegations like this, they
Nasty.
tend to consider the alternative. Maybe she wanted this. Maybe she liked this. Maybe she is just using
Hell
him
nah.
for a payday after consenting to this depraved lifestyle.
Hell nah.
And maybe in the beginning she did consent to these weird
In the
kinks.
beginning,
But
maybe.
it's very easy to see how these things can get out of control
Yeah.
very quickly. A clear line between fantasy and reality needs to be drawn, and evidently that wasn't the case. Now, people will also wonder, how did this get so bad? Well, a lot of people downplay the impact of psychological manipulation and how people can lose themselves, go numb, and just start obliging to the demands of their abuser. The lawsuit also quotes Vince texting her saying, "I want to drive you lower and lower, so low that you beg me to sell you." In early 2022, Vince said that his wife Linda
Hell
found
no.
out about he and Janelle's relationship and threatened a divorce, so he stopped all communication with her to save his marriage and avoid a public fallout. He demanded that she sign a non-disclosure agreement in which McMahon agreed to pay her $3 million to keep their relationship confidential. However, after After the anonymous tip in 2022 that led to a board investigation and a multi-million-dollar payout to a few women, Vince stopped paying Janelle after the initial $1 million installment. Vince has vehemently denied any wrongdoing. He also put out a statement saying he and Janelle had a consensual relationship that lasted a little less than 3 years and ended in early 2022. He also added that Grant texted him explicit images of herself and messages expressing love for him, along with her wanting.
What a liar! He just wants to save face.
The evidence will prove Miss Grant's
he just want to save face, bro. Fuck that.
Complaint is nothing more than a fabricated,
caught,
narrative
old nigga.
from a disgruntled former girlfriend. But in July of 2023, federal prosecutors executed a search warrant for McMahon.
You know, I never liked it, Vince McMahon, when he was like playing those characters. And you know what, bro? I still don't like him. So like nothing has changed, bro. I still don't like him. Fuck him. He's a bitch.
And served him with a grand jury subpoena, and it seems like since then, which has now been a year, the feds have been building a case against him.
Good.
Just a month ago, they asked Janelle if she would agree to essentially put her case on hold while they investigate him further. She agreed. So it seems like any day now, the feds could present the world with years worth of evidence proving him to be the exact same depraved, disgusting, abusive, power-absorbed freak he conveyed himself to be on television for the past 35 years.
Well, this is the video I watched, but you know, I didn't have the audio right. Well, now that was a video. I'm kind of disgusted. That was my phone. I'm kind of disgusted. Kind of terrible. What is the belt? The belt is over there, bro. I threw that bitch, bro. I was done. I was done. I was like, hell no. But like, that was terrible. Very sad, bro. Rip my girl, by the way. Oh, she did not deserve it. She didn't deserve that. I actually like almost cried, bro. That was like so sad. It's 2 a.m. right now. I'm gonna go take a shower. Probably think about this video, how sad it was. And yeah, I'm gonna try to upload some more reactions, bro. Technically I already recorded 2, but I can only post this one. I'm kind of sad about that, but hey, bro, it is what it is, I guess. As remember my mistakes and apply them to the future so this doesn't happen again. All right, without further ado, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.